Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a news edition. These are the headlines. Algeria reaffirms its support to any effort aiming at reinforcing the African Union's presence at the continental and international levels during the 48th session of the African Union Executive Council. The inauguration of a new agency of the BEA International Bank in Saint-Denis in France to meet the needs of the Algerian community there. The French channel CNews, that has always been accused of disinformation regarding immigration and the Arab world, is now obliged to pay €100,000 fine for discriminatory statements against Algerians and Palestinians. Welcome back. Prime Minister Sifi Gharieb chaired a government meeting on the review of the annual results of the implementation of the President of the Republic's directives issued during the sixth meeting between the government and the governors of on the 24th and 25th of December 2024, and its recommendations on continuing the local development dynamic, the consolidation of food and water security, the reinforcement of the role of local authorities in generating employment opportunities, the modernization of local public services and urban management to ensure a high-quality living environment for citizens. The government studied a project to launch communication services via non-geostationary satellite with the objective of developing high-speed internet access across the national territory, particularly in rural areas and isolated areas, and to reinforce national sovereignty in this strategic sector. Tasked by the President of the Republic, the State Minister for Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, took part in Addis Ababa in the 48th session of the African Union Executive Council. This ministerial meeting is a preparation for the African Union Summit scheduled for next Saturday. Several issues will be discussed, notably those related to the mutual African work in facing the most important political security and development challenges. The State Minister reaffirmed Algeria's support to any effort aiming at reinforcing the African Union's presence at the continental and international levels. We'll listen.
The African Union Summit that we are preparing today is of crucial importance in light of the broader international context in which it has taken place, a context that threatens to marginalize Africa and push its priorities and causes into the background. Algeria supports every effort likely to contribute to strengthening our organization, moving it beyond a logic of inward-looking retreat, consolidating its presence at both the continental and international levels, and enabling it to address current challenges with realism and responsibility.
On the sideline of the session, Ahmed Attaf held talks with the Tunisian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Tunisians Abroad, Mohamed Ali Al-Nafti. The two parties discussed the most important issues related to the Executive Council agenda. They also reviewed the mutual efforts aiming at implementing the recommendations of the 23rd Joint Algerian-Tunisian High Commission to take the partnership to the level of the ambitions of the President of the two countries. Attaf also held bilateral talks with the South African Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola. They exchanged points of view on the main challenges that the African continent faces and the ways to reinforce the coordination. The State Minister also had talks with the Nigerian Minister, Yusuf Maitama Togar. The two ministers reviewed the situation in the Sahel region and the ways of reinforcing the development in this area, notably by supporting integration projects. On the last day of his official visit, the General Caliph of the Tariqa Tijaniya, Sheikh Ali Al-Arabi, was received by the Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. They reaffirmed the place of the Tariqa in Senegal and the world, in addition to the deep relations between Algeria and Senegal. The Senegalese President tasked the General Caliph to convey his salutations to the President of the Republic and to the Algerian people. We'll listen.
I'm very pleased to visit the land of Senegal. This visit is not only spiritual in nature, but also an opportunity to check on the health and well-being of our Tijani brothers in Senegal. There are very strong ties between our two countries and our two peoples. Today, we have come to take part in the spiritual retreat in Kokoto and the Kafrin region at the invitation of the Pekin Zawiya, led by the descendants of Sheikh Ahmed Tijani. The invitation was extended to the President of the Republic of Algeria, Abdelmajid Tebboune, who personally entrusted me while representing him here in Senegal and traveling to Kokoto to join the disciples in performing dhikr and reciting the Holy Quran thousands, even millions of times. We are truly delighted by this visit and wish the Senegalese people and their leaders continued progress, prosperity and success.
BEA International Bank opens a new branch in Saint-Denis, tapping rising demand for Algeria-linked banking. Nearly 600 accounts opened in days, highlighting strong local interest. Coverage by Afaf Belhouchet, taken up by Melissa de la Balaman.
BEA International Bank is expanding in France, opening a new branch in Saint-Denis, north of Paris. The inauguration was symbolic but strategic. Demand for Algeria-linked banking is rising fast. We have institutional representatives here in the Saint-Denis City Hall, along with clients, prospects and partners. For residents, the branch offers direct access to financial services tied to Algeria. No intermediaries, no long trips, but the impact goes beyond the Algerian community. City officials say the bank supports the station district's renewal and broadens local banking options in a city with strong demand for neighborhood services. The arrival of the Bank of Algeria in the Saint-Denis Station district matters because this area is undergoing major renewal. The branch supports that transformation. These services will benefit all residents, and yes, it celebrates the special bond between Saint-Denis and Algeria through its diaspora, the largest community in our city. For customers, the branch meets concrete needs: easier banking, smoother money transfers, and support for student mobility, crucial for newly arrived Algerian students. It's a real opportunity for young students. It will simplify many procedures, especially opening a bank account. Another draw: responsiveness and services tailored to Franco-Algerian trade. The branch also attracts French clients who praise service quality and staff availability. It has it all: expertise, knowledge of clients, and availability. The momentum is spreading beyond the local level, reaching international professional networks. A friend told me to come because the director was kind and very helpful. I mentioned it at the UNESCO. Within 8 days, 4 or 5 delegations from several countries will open accounts here. The surge reflects a targeted expansion strategy, already evident in the numbers. We're seeing a very strong pace of account openings, around 600 clients already at the Saint-Denis branch. That's a strong performance given the enthusiasm. Nearly 600 accounts opened in just days. A strong start for Saint-Denis, a city of over 110,000 and one of France's largest Algerian populations. BEA International Bank is consolidating its position in a strategic market where local demand meets financial flows between Algeria and France.
At Mechanical Algeria Industry, operators are rallying behind a push to strengthen local manufacturing, with high integration rates, upgraded quality standards, and talks underway with car makers. The mechanical sector is sharpening its drive to cut imports and move into export markets. Coverage by Salim Skandar, taken up by Melissa de la Balaman.
Algeria's mechanical sector is taking center stage. Mechanical Algeria has brought together manufacturers, specialists, and young entrepreneurs around a single ambition: to build a robust, forward-looking national industry and scale up local production. Through our participation in Mechanical Algeria, we're showcasing our spare parts manufacturing capacity as part of the state's strategy to develop locally produced mechanical components within the national integration framework.
La stratégie de l'État qui vise la fabrication des pièces mécaniques dans le cadre de l'intégration nationale.
We've partnered with a German firm to manufacture a joint Algerian-German production in Algeria with 100% local production. The current integration rate stands at 90% for the domestic product. We're now in talks with car makers to integrate Algerian-manufactured products into their production chains. Innovation, subcontracting, and homegrown expertise are driving conversations throughout the event. Algerian startups are presenting ambitious industrial solutions, guided by a clear objective: cut reliance on imports and pave the way for exports in the mechanical sector. Our goal is to introduce our fully Algerian-made product to both the public and businesses. We're here at Mechanical Algeria to explore opportunities with Algerian truck and vehicle manufacturers. Algeria's mechanical industry is making a clear statement. It can manufacture at home and position itself on international markets, a strategic meeting point for shaping the industry of tomorrow.
To the weekly report of the PNA. As part of fighting terrorism, PNA detachments arrested 10 elements backing terrorist groups in different operations throughout the national territory. As part of the fight against organized crime and in continuity of the tireless efforts aimed at countering the scourge of drug trafficking in our country, combined detachments of the PNA intercepted, in coordination with the different security services in operations across the military regions, 26 drug traffickers and thwarted attempts to introduce 10.98 quintals of processed keef through the borders with Morocco, while 2,284,000 psychotropic tablets were seized. In Tamil Asad, Port Baji Mukhtar, in Saleh, in Gazzam and Janet, detachments of the People's National Army arrested 255 individuals and seized 32 vehicles, 188 generators, 111 jackhammers, as well as quantities of mixture of raw gold and stones and other equipment used in illegal gold mining operations. On the other hand, 11 individuals were arrested and one machine gun FMPK type, 2 Kalashnikovs, one automatic pistol, 9 hunting rifles and 24,500 liters of fuel were seized. Similarly, 227 illegal immigrants of different nationalities were arrested across the national territory. France's media regulatory ARCOM has sanctioned CNews over discriminatory comments targeting Algerians and Palestinians, a ruling that underscores the limits of free speech and highlights the boundaries of public discourse. Basmafar.
CNews, owned by the Bolloré Group, was fined €100,000 by France's audiovisual regulator for remarks targeting Algerians and Palestinians. The sanction follows 2 segments aired in summer 2025 on L'Heure des Pros. In one, former French Minister Noël Lenoir suggested that thousands of Algerians could pose a security threat in France. A few days later, another segment linked all Palestinians to terrorism. The regulator ARCOM said the comments went beyond opinion, creating a harmful conflation by assigning a nationality or origin to a threat. The decision is seen as highly significant.
This decision is highly significant beyond breaching social and legal norms. The findings reported by ARCOM contain elements that could constitute a criminal offense, potentially leading to legal proceedings. It is essential to put an end to this transgression of social rules. Why? Because freedom of expression, a fundamental pillar of the rule of law, is not absolute. Limits exist, particularly when speech harms the dignity of the entire population. In this case, the Palestinian population, already suffering immense hardship and trauma, was targeted, as was the Algerian population, which has been regularly questioned and discredited over the past 18 months by channels such as CNews and the Bolloré Group.
Et à l'endroit aussi de la population algérienne et qui depuis près de 18 mois est régulièrement mis en doute et discrédité auprès donc de ces chaînes continues, notamment CNews et le groupe de Bolloré.
As a result, CNews was fined €25,000 for the first segment and €75,000 for the second. This new sanction adds to a long series of warnings the channel has received in recent years for repeated breaches of its editorial obligations. In just a few years, CNews has become the media showcase of a radicalized right, openly taking a divisive stance on immigration and Islam. But this time, the regulator believes a line has been crossed. Whether this sanction will be enough to silence these voices of hate remains to be seen.
In Morocco, demolition operations persist across several regions, leaving families homeless and fueling growing outrage as residents denounce what they describe as a humiliation and forced displacement under directives attributed to the Makhzen. Basma Far.
Demolition in Morocco continues, with homes brought down in several areas. Families watch helplessly as their properties turn to rubble. Despite the recent floods in the northern regions, the operations have not stopped. Carried out under directives attributed to the Makhzen, the campaign has left entire families in the streets.
May God help us. We have been abandoned. The government did not even provide us with candles. A single candle cost 15 dirhams. Is this theft? What kind of treatment is this? It is humiliating for us and shameful for them. Frankly, it breaks my heart. They threw us into the streets. We are living in inhuman conditions. We are exposed to scabies, lice, and all kinds of diseases. The situation is chaotic. We are all sick because of the lack of hygiene. We have nothing left. We are trapped in this misery. There is only one option remaining: to leave, to cross the sea, perhaps, just perhaps, to find a chance to live with dignity.
Leaving the country for a dignified life now appears to be the only path for many Moroccan families affected by what they describe as the injustice of the Makhzen.
And we wrap up our edition with the announcement of the official establishment of the Football Federation of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic in Algiers on Wednesday, in the presence of sports figures and members of the diplomatic corps at the Embassy of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic in Algeria. The Sahrawi chose Algeria for this announcement after the administrative creation of the federation on the 6th of February, coinciding with the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the creation of the Sahrawi Republic. The creation of the Sahrawi Football Federation aims at making more people familiar with the Sahrawi cause around the world through sports. And with this, we come to the end of our edition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Have a good night.